Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. The Canadians find a way to get another win, an overtime win against the Florida Panthers, who we seem to be owning as of late, which is a crazy thing to say. I think this is our fifth win in a row, maybe even more against the Florida Panthers, going back to last season, and a 3-2 win in a game where, it certainly felt like we were going to win, and then it felt like we were going to lose, and then we felt like we were going to win again. So it was all over the place, but the Canadians find a way to get those 2 points, and two absolutely massive points in a game where, with 5 minutes or so left in this one, it felt like we were going to come away with nothing, which would be incredibly disappointing considering the way that the game had played out up to that point. But we find a way to get two here in Florida, against the reigning champs here. So an absolutely huge win, and just a really gutsy win too. I felt like, like definitely early on the Canadians, I felt like they really dominated the game. And then, obviously the ice tilted in a big way towards the Florida Panthers. And then we were able to just find a way to dig deep and get stuff going in our first line. Our top players, Suzuki and Caulfield, come through big when they haven't necessarily done that recently at all. They find a way to come out big when they need to be, and they win us that game there. Not to sell Montembeault short at all. I think, for playing his first game in a long time, he played very, very well. I mean, there was one very obvious glaring issue with his game, which was that second goal there from Sam Bennett. Or Sam Reinhart. That's one that you'd like to not have go in, but at the same time, you got to give credit to Sam Reinhart as well. It's a very skilled shot that he's able to score with there, and that does not go in 99 of 100 times in my opinion. But either way, you'd like to be able to seal that off and not let it go in, especially at that point in the game when it made it 2-0. But other than that, like, we go all the way back to the first period in this one. It felt like, the Canadians were all over it. They were absolutely dominating the competition there. I felt like through the first and second period, they played a great 40 minutes there. Couldn't capitalize on their chances. They had so many chances, power play chances, 5-on-5, whatever. Everything was getting saved or blocked or whiffed or whatever. Cole Caulfield had a great chance, I think, in the second period that he just had the entire net to shoot at and then rang it right off the crossbar. So just a lot of chances. We just were not getting the puck luck, which kind of extends from where we were in the last game as well. We just did not have any luck going our way. Nothing was going into the back of the net. And like, just so many chances that we were just not quite able to connect on, just misses, all that kind of stuff. And and that's the game that Florida wants to play as well, especially when they have some of their star guys still out of their lineup. It's definitely a game that they want to play to make us frustrate ourselves, by not being able to score. And then when they get their opportunity on a power play, in which we gave them a couple too many there, they were able to capitalize and put us in jeopardy of losing that one. But overall, yeah, like, I feel like that the first 40 minutes of that game, the Canadians were all over it. They just did everything but score goals in that first 40 minutes. And then, a couple power plays that Florida got, I didn't really feel like they deserved. The one that Slavkovsky gave them that they ended up scoring on, I feel like definitely they deserved. That was just a bit of a boneheaded play by Slavkovsky there. Just, probably just a little bit of frustration, just not able to break into the zone, and then he just fully, trips him both skates going under him with the stick there. So that was unfortunate, and obviously Marchand scores. I'm not gonna blame Montembeault in that one either. There's like 3 or 4 guys in front of the net. There's no way Montembeault was gonna be able to see that shot go through, and it was just a nice play by Marchand there. The Reinhardt one, as I talked about before, that's just a perfect shot. Like, it's like you'd like to see Montembeault seal that off a little bit better, but at the same time, like, I feel like you could try that. Like, any put Leon Draisaitl or even Cole Caulfield on the ice and try to snipe on that. Like, he's gonna miss 9 times out of 10 on that one. So it's just a good shot. They get a fortunate bounce that it goes in the perfect way. That puts us in a hole, but Cole Caulfield's able to come back with his 19th of the season. What was an absolutely, he just put the team on his back in that moment. And it was only, I think, 30 seconds or something. Well, yeah, like a couple seconds. Yeah, like 32 seconds to be exact, doing the math in my head. 32 seconds after the Sam Reinhart goal, he just puts the team on his back and says, "I'm bringing us back in this thing." And he curls around from the right side there, absolutely toe drags and loses a defender, and then just he literally made Tarasov, the goaltender for Florida, made him look like he was a goaltender from the 80s, trying to stand up, wiggling his legs around, trying to kick this puck away. But Cole Caulfield was able to slide this thing 5-hole after beating the defender, and that's one of the goals. That's what we've been missing from Cole Caulfield over the past week or so. Like, he has not been himself as of late. And another thing to note too, that goal comes from Safkovsky being on the Suzuki and Caulfield line, and all of a sudden they're scoring goals again. So I don't know what that says about the top line, if they want to do that. I feel like the Texier was okay on that top line. He had a couple of chances there. Generally speaking, everybody had chances in the first two periods of this game. They just weren't able to capitalize on those chances. So it's tough to say that anybody had like a bad day, especially in that top six. But it'll be interesting to see what they do there, and like how it'll affect that second line, all that kind of stuff. But either way, you put Slavkovsky on the top line, all of a sudden we're back in the game because Cole Caulfield scores his 19th. Hudson gets his 32nd assist, and Dobson his 19th assist there. So good stat padding from those guys. Hudson had a great game as well. I felt like he had some good chances there. And then Nick Suzuki with a goalie pulled 6-on-5. Tarasov goes out to play this puck, and it almost looked like he was going to go for the goalie goal, and then I think he thought against it, and then kind of just fumbled the puck a little bit. Ivan Demidov was able to kind of cough it up, like it caused Tarasov to cough up the puck. He gives it over to Nick Suzuki, who one times it into the right side, and all of a sudden we get a tie game, and that's a big goal for Nick Suzuki, and a very big moment for the team. Of course, we got to get our points, but at the same time, with the Team Canada list coming out tomorrow, he's just dotting his I's, crossing his T's, hopefully making sure everybody knows that he should be on that lineup, or else, whoever's in charge there is making a big mistake there. But yeah, a big goal for Suzuki. He scores his 12th of the season there. Ivan Demidov his 23rd assist, and Caulfield his 20th assist of the season there. And yeah, just that's a big goal, and that's what we've come to know from Suzuki as well. I feel like, especially late into last season as well. Everybody remembers, of course, when we scored to win it against the Florida Panthers last season with that kind of weird, play where Hudson kind of dumped it in from the line, and Suzuki was all alone to tie it up with, I think, a couple seconds left in the game there. So like, especially against the Florida Panthers, but even in general, like, it seems like I felt personally that Suzuki had one of his better games of the season tonight. He looked like he had a little bit more of a jump as compared to some of the other games that we've seen him play this year. I think kind of the consensus for Suzuki this season has been that he has looked a little bit less than 100%. I don't know if there's some sort of lingering injury that he's dealing with or whatever it is. It feels like he hasn't necessarily been on his A game, but maybe it's the looming Olympic roster being a factor there, or the Christmas break giving him some time to rest or whatever. But I think personally for me, I felt like he had one of his best games of the season tonight. So that was huge. And obviously we're not done talking about Nick Suzuki, because in the overtime frame, he scores the game-winning goal on the power play. I thought it was kind of a dirty hit. I mean, obviously it's Brad Marchand, so I think you can expect that from him. That's kind of just his MO a lot of times. Another guy who's probably going to be playing on that Team Canada roster, but he goes in for a late hit. He gets his elbow right into the head of Mike Matheson and knocks him over. It'd be interesting to see if he gets any further disciplinary action from that. Not that it really matters to us at this point, but it gave us that 2-minute power play in overtime, which is a big deal. And we spent most of that power play not really doing a whole lot of passing and a whole lot of almosts, and Suzuki ends up hitting the crossbar and an opportunity opportunity there. I felt like most of that power play is just, an echo chamber of what we've been talking about over the last few weeks, especially with Demidov. Just like we would love to see Demidov just rip the puck one of these times, or Caulfield rip it, or somebody. I feel like we could have scored maybe on one of those opportunities if we just let the puck go. But at the same time, I get it. It's overtime. You're trying to get the perfect opportunity there. So, and we almost had it too. Suzuki hit the corner post. Trying to end it there. It doesn't matter because with in the dying seconds of that power play, they put Lane Hudson on that power play with Dobson. They both get the assist on it, and it's an absolutely beautiful pass from Lane Hudson that finds Suzuki literally all alone in the back door. And the Suzuki was so wide open, he could have gotten on the ice and blew that puck across the goal line. He had so much time and space to put that thing in. He doesn't do that, obviously. He just puts it in with his stick, but it's a big goal and a huge pass. I honestly would have liked to have seen Lane Hudson be on that full power play. Maybe we would have scored a little bit earlier than that, but either way, it's a perfect pass, like a fake slap shot pass that finds him there, and that ends the game there in overtime. And again, like that's a huge win for the Canadians. And by the way, it was Suzuki's 13th of the season. Hudson gets his 33rd assist, Dobson his 20th assist. So Lane Hudson continuing to dominate in the point totals. He's got to be in the top 5. I'm not really sure where he lands as of right now in terms of defenseman points, but he's playing absolutely insane. Obviously, I'm looking up right now, Lane Hudson currently 4th in the league. I think they might have to update this. It's just after the game ended, so it might change a little bit. But Lane Hudson currently is in 4th place in defenseman points here. Obviously, Kel McCarr is far and away the best defenseman, as everybody would predict. But he's playing absolutely incredible right now. He's just making an impact every single time he's on the ice. So it's really good to see him have an impact and have a say in how these games are going here. And speaking of the game, it's a huge win, a huge 2 points for the Canadians that solidifies their place in 2nd in the Atlantic. Obviously, a couple more games left to be played today, and then in through the rest of 2025 here. But either way, it's a big win for the Canadians. And in an Atlantic Division, we've been talking about this for weeks now. Like, this Atlantic Division is so tight. There are only like 10 or 11 points separating every single team in the Atlantic Division and in the Eastern Conference, to be fair. So it's just every single time we can come out with a point, we need to get those. And to come out of the Florida series against Tampa and Florida, 2 really solid teams, and get 3 out of a possible 4, that's really impressive, all things considered. I do think the Canadians could have gotten 4 out of 4 there, both of which in regulation, but we'll take an overtime win and an overtime loss over 0 points at all. So, absolutely we'll take that. And as it stands right now, the Canadians are sitting with 48 points in 39 games. Only 1 point behind Detroit. Detroit's got 49 points in 40 games, so we've got a game in hand on them. Tampa Bay right behind us with 47 points, and then the Florida Panthers, the next closest team from the Atlantic, with 45. Obviously, we beat them today, so we get a little bit of a 3-point cushion over them. That's the way that the Canadians will end 2025 here. I feel like if we look back at the 2025 as a whole, obviously we had a really nice resurgence in the new year coming into 2025. Caused us to push for the playoffs and make the playoffs. A nice 5-game series against the Washington Capitals, and I feel like we just haven't really looked back ever since 2025 started. So I would say, a really great year it's been in 2025 for the Canadians, and we'll have to see what 2026 holds for them, but that all remains to be seen, of course. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. A great win, staying in the conversation for the playoffs, of course. I mean, we're more than in the conversation. We are 2nd in the Atlantic right now, so I feel like we're doing a very nice job of competing and doing everything that we set out to do. I still think, coming into 2026, our New Year's resolutions should probably be to win some more games in regulation, score some goals, have a little bit more of a finishing mindset there. Obviously sort out our goaltending situation, get some guys back from injury. All that kind of stuff is what we have to look forward to throughout the rest of this season in the new year. But, yeah, again, that all remains to be seen. So I hope everybody watching has a very happy new year, and I will catch you guys at the next game, which is Thursday against the Carolina Hurricanes.